If you are terrified to show up or to even hint at anything or to introduce what it is that you are working on, ask for feedback. Like, invite your audience to be a part of your journey by asking them for their input or feedback on certain aspects of your product or service. Hey, my name is Jenna Kutcher, and I am obsessed with all things business, marketing, numbers, and helping you to navigate both the messy and the magical seasons of this thing called life. I'm a small town mama who took a $300 camera, grew a successful photo biz, and now I work from home and run a 7-figure online business. I teach you the tried and true secrets to building a career you adore. Shy away from the real talk? No way. Money, hardship, growth, loss, and marketing are all topics we discuss here. Think of this as your one-stop shop for happy hour with a gal pal mixed with business school. Pull up a seat, make sure you're cozy, and get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn. This is the Goal Digger Podcast. There is a great chance that you're listening to this podcast and you might be someone who has never publicly shared your dream, the project that you're working on, or the business that you want to start. Putting ourselves out there can be so scary, but I will argue that it is necessary for your success. Sharing yourself and what you're working on or dreaming about allows you to leave breadcrumbs on the path to help people understand who you are, what you do, and why you're doing it, and why they should be willing to invest in it. It's true that people buy from those they know, like, and trust, and the best way to invite others to get to know you is through the content you create and the way that you show up. Now, I'm sure deep down you probably already know that, but it might not feel that simple. Like, what if talking about yourself or your dreams or your business doesn't come naturally for you? I know that feeling all too well. There have been seasons in my entrepreneurial journey where I was either way too scared to put myself out there, or I genuinely didn't think I had anything interesting to say. I wasn't ready to share yet. The project didn't feel done. I didn't feel ready to launch. I knew I had to post and show up, but I wasn't always sure on where to begin. If you find yourself struggling to tell your story and sharing who you are and what you do, I'm going to share 5 super easy ways you can start posting today to build awareness of your business or the one you're going to create and to boost your engagement and connection. By embracing these steps, you're going to gain the confidence in letting your voice be heard and start building meaningful connections with your audience too. Without further ado, let's dive on in. Finding a service solution that helps you better connect with customers and keep them happy can feel impossible. Like trying to remember the name of that girl you just met at a networking event. Was it Mia or Leah? Or could it be Sophia? Yeah, that kind of impossible. HubSpot's all new Service Hub can help. Well, with the service solution part at least, it brings service and success together on one powerful platform for the first time ever. Between an AI-powered help desk and an AI chatbot that handles frontline tickets fast, you can scale, support, and drive retention and revenue. Plus, it comes with a customer success workspace that helps reps anticipate customer needs. With a full 360 view of every customer, your go-to-market team can keep a pulse on accounts before ever trying to upsell or cross-sell. And you know what that means? Better service and happier customers at every stage of their journey. Visit HubSpot.com/service to do more for your customers today. That's HubSpot.com/service. I want to just start this episode by acknowledging that putting ourselves out there feels risky. And there are so many people that are listening right now that you have an amazing idea. You have a business in the works. You have a side hustle that wants to start. You have a passion in your life. You have a curiosity that you're exploring, and you will not share it with the world or with even the few hundred people that follow you. And I get it. It is scary to put yourself out there. But the thing that kills me more than you risking being judged is you dying without actually doing the things you were put on this planet to do. I know that sounds really big and crazy, but the truth is that so many people are afraid to simply begin. They forget that when you start to share, confidence comes. And when confidence comes, you continue to let people in. And when you let people in, people are given this opportunity to love you. I have grown up on the internet, basically. It feels that way. My business was born on the internet over a decade ago. I have been through so many different cycles of fear and showing up anyway so that I can not only grow my business, but so that I can live a big life. And the reason why this episode is so important to me, it sounds so silly, so simple, like 5 easy ways you can start showing up. Great. The real call to action here is that you need to take action. If you are someone who listens to this show and you collect insight and information and inspiration, but you don't implement, let today be the episode that inspires you into action, because nobody is winning through you playing small. I want you to start sharing your story, your dreams, the things that come easily to you, the things that you're working on, the things that you're learning. Other people benefit when you do that. And it also gives your dream a chance to grow. So don't let this be an episode that you consume, but you don't create after it. I am creating this with the ultimate goal of you taking this information and running with it. And I promise you, it is so much easier than you're making it out to be. So when we talk about showing up, I want for you to know that you are not unique in the fear of showing up is scary. Putting ourselves out there is scary. But the truth is that if we don't put ourselves out there, we are not fully utilizing our abilities to truly impact the world. We are playing small. And so my hope today is to make this as approachable as possible so that as you listen to this episode, in fact, here's something you could do right now to start growing your comfort muscle in this area is take a screenshot of you listening to this episode and post it on the internet and just tell people you're tuning in. And hey, guess what? They might be seeing some more content from you because you're so inspired. Easy peasy, right? So one of the first things that I want for you to think about, if you are someone who is paralyzed in sharing what you're working on or what you want to be working on, is letting people behind the scenes. One of the things that I think is happening all over social media, and there's even data to back it up, is that people are kind of going back to the roots and those initial desires of social media connecting and peeling back the curtain. Now, over the years, we've created different systems with social media and all these different things that are amazing and so helpful. But in that, I think a lot of people have lost that humanness that we're craving. I was recently with a bunch of other entrepreneurs, and one of the girls could not believe that I am the person creating my content. I am the only person logged into my account responding to DMs. She couldn't believe that. And I was like, I have to stay connected to this piece because this is me. Like, it's not just my brand, it's me as a human. And so when we think about behind the scenes, people love to see the human side of your business. Show them the messy desk, show them the brainstorming session, show them what you're learning, show them the book you're reading, show them what you're making for breakfast. I know it sounds silly, but we all know that authenticity builds trust and connection. I truly think that I have the following that I do in the community that I do because I have shown up authentically in all the seasons. I showed up in the startup season. I showed up in our season of loss. I've showed up in our season of growth. I've shown up in seasons of burnout. And it provides this place where you can be the human that you want to be without having to have it all together. In fact, having it all together is so unrelatable. People want to see that they can look at your work, your life, your content and say, me too, or I'm so glad I'm not alone. So how can you start letting people behind the scenes? Start talking about your curiosity. If there is something that you have this idea on and you're like, maybe this could be my business, or maybe I could start a side hustle. It doesn't even have to be angled that you're going to monetize it at some point or start a business, but share how you're leaning into that curiosity, whether again, it's books you're reading or podcasts you're listening to like this one or people you're learning from. One of the curiosities I have that I have zero plans to monetize is sourdough bread, and just letting people in on that. And it was so funny because when I was with a bunch of friends, we talked about sourdough bread a ton, and they wouldn't have even known about that aspect of my life if I hadn't shared it online. Now, another way to do this, and this might be the best way to inch your way into growing that muscle of comfort around content, is sharing other people's content. It doesn't even have to be your own content. It can be other people's content that can anchor the direction you're going or kind of shift the tides of what you're talking about. You could share other people's quotes. You could share their graphics. You could repost their reels or their memes. You could share all of this in your stories or even on your feed, but it can help kind of, again, turn the tides on what you're working on or what you're working towards, or share what you're finding valuable. Again, it just kind of helps change the conversation in a direction and kind of helps you dip your toe in without even having to create anything. So if you're stuck and you're like, hey, this health podcast is super interesting. Here's what I'm learning on it. Share a clip from that podcast and type in a little bit about why you're sharing that. Now, it's so funny because I love Facebook memories. I don't even really post on Facebook anymore, but I love Facebook memories on my personal page because I am constantly seeing posts of when I was starting my business and when I was becoming a photographer. I literally would do posts. I've had multiple of these where whenever I bought a new camera or a new lens, I would take a picture of it and be like, welcome to the family, Nikon D300. And I would do posts of like, I just want to take pictures for a living. Let me take your picture. Cool. These were literal statuses I was sharing before I ever had an LLC, before I'd ever made $1. And it was almost just like I was just putting it out into the universe and letting people know. Same thing. I remember a few years into my photography business, I posted about how I wanted to travel for weddings. And I like just put it out into the ether. Like, wouldn't it be so fun to shoot a wedding on a beach? And I find myself in Puerto Rico or scaling a mountain in Seattle. And so again, like, it's not even just manifestation. There's so much action behind it, but putting it out there is this amazing way to let people into your hopes, your wants, your dreams, your curiosities, but also to just consistently be reminding people like, hey, there's something here, or there might be something here, or I'm pursuing something here. I often think about like the behind the scenes process, and a more recent example would be when I launched my book, How Are You Really? And I think one of the smartest things that I did is like the book itself would be something to talk about, right? That's the offer. But I let people into the process of writing the book. So I even remember when I started my Google Doc titled, I'm going to write a book. That night, I like posted a blurry photo on Instagram with a screenshot of the Google Doc of like working on something new. And then every step of the way, from getting the cover design to getting the first draft of the book to editing the manuscript to launch day, like I was able to share so much even around that content that I was letting people behind the scenes so that they not only cared about the book, but they understood the process that went into it. So do not negate the power of letting people into your life. And I promise you, the things that you think are so boring are the things that are the most relatable aspects of you in your life, the things that people will connect with. If anyone has been here for a long time, you'll probably remember when I would share about Mac and Cheese Monday. And my goal was that anytime somebody walked in a grocery store down the pasta aisle and they saw macaroni and cheese, they thought of Jenna Kutcher. And I think I was very successful in that. And so don't be afraid to share some of those things that make you interesting, but might feel boring, because again, people are going to connect to that. And it's going to just be these little reminders of you and who you are and what you're doing. Hey, goal diggers. Lately, I've been getting excited to finish furnishing our new home, which is why I want to tell you about a brand that we absolutely love, which is Article. I have been a fan and a customer of Article for years. I'm always blown away by the curated assortment of furniture styles they offer. They have mid-century modern, coastal, industrial, Scandinavian, and even boho designs. There is something for everyone, no matter your taste. In our last house, we had their sofa and leather chairs. At our lake house, we have their dining table and chairs. We also just ordered some of their outdoor furniture for our new patio. Like, if you can't tell, we are obsessed with Article. The quality and style are top notch. Article's online only model means that they can offer some great prices with fast and hassle-free delivery. Pick the delivery time that works for you, and they keep you updated every step of the way. Article's customer is also amazing. They're knowledgeable, friendly, and always there when you need them. If you're like me and you're itching to give your home a makeover, I highly recommend checking out Article. They believe in delightful design for every home, and thanks to their commitment to style, quality, and affordability, it's never been easier to transform your space. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/goaldigger and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/goaldigger for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. When it comes to content creation, you either do it because you love it or because you know it's a powerful business tool. Now, either way, it takes a ton of work. Whether you're building your website from scratch or struggling to manage payments, you need Kajabi. Kajabi is the ultimate one-stop shop that's been my go-to for almost a decade. Yes, nearly a decade. It's designed to help creators and entrepreneurs build thriving online businesses with steady recurring income. Whether it's blogging, coaching, or podcasting, Kajabi makes it simple to transform your passion into profitable online courses, exclusive membership sites, and so much more. Over the years, Kajabi has been my rock, from hosting my signature courses like the Pinterest Lab to handling transactions without taking a single penny of my money. That's right. You get to keep 100% of what you earn. With Kajabi, you get powerful analytics, simple payment options, effective email marketing tools, and beautiful website templates that you can customize. And here's a little secret. You don't need a massive following to earn a great income. There are thousands of creators on Kajabi who are making 6 and 7 figures with less than 50,000 followers, and you can be one of them. Right now, Kajabi is offering a free 30-day trial to start your business if you go to kajabi.com/goal. That's KAJABI.com/goal. Join the creators and entrepreneurs who have made over $7 billion today at kajabi.com/goal. Another very easy way to start showing up, even if you don't have it all figured out, even if you don't have everything perfect, is to start sharing your why or your own transformation. Tell the story behind your idea or your product or your offer or your business. Like, what inspired you to create it? What problem does it solve? What was the passion? What was the motivation behind it that might resonate really deeply with your audience and compel them to support you? One thing that I think sucks about today's culture is that we want the before and the after, and there's no space for the middle. And I think that a lot of newer entrepreneurs and newer creators see people that have these, rags to riches stories that are super inspiring, but they're like, I'm going to wait until I get to the riches part before I share the rags part when they're in it. And it's so fascinating to me because I believe that the riches are never going to come until you learn to sit in and with and share the regs. That's my hot take. I know you want to wait until it's perfect and you have it all figured out and it's beautiful and it's ready to go. And now you can say, voila, look at how far I've come. But the truth is that if you're not willing to start where you are and show up exactly where you are, you're not going to grow. It's not going to happen. So share your why and the transformation now. Tell people what it is about you. What is your origin story? You might be living your origin story right now. Even before you have an LLC or a sales page or anything to sell, anchor in your why. And guess what? It's going to change and it's going to pivot and doesn't have to be perfect. Go on ChatGPT and have it help you anchor in your why. Tell them what you want to do and why you want to do it and why it matters to you. And let ChatGPT help you anchor in a strong why. But the more that you start to share and help people understand why it is that you're doing what you're doing or why you want to build a business, the more that they are brought into the fold, even if they don't need what you're selling, the more that they are going to lean in and listen, the more that they're curious and compelled. And so you want to think about, what is my why, or what is my transformation or a transformation that I've been able to get someone else, and figure out how to share that journey. Not just the before and after, but let people into the messy middle. Again, the behind the scenes is so powerful. And so I think this is so amazing because what's happening these days is that people are like, okay, once I have the audience that I have, then I'll start talking about the things that matter to me. You're not going to get the audience that you want without sharing those things, without really anchoring in your values and your why. If you have not listened to my recent interview earlier this month with Ashlyn Carter, she is my conversion copywriter. Be sure to check it out. I'm going to link it in the show notes and the show description for you. But in our conversation, she talks about how the only true monopoly that we have in our businesses is our story. That no matter what product or service we provide or business we build, our uniqueness is what makes us stand out from all of the competition. This is why it is so important to share our why and how we've transformed our lives or how we've built our businesses. This might just be the thing that causes someone to choose you over someone else. And so again, you want to think about, why am I doing this? Or what is a transformation that I've experienced that has led me to want to offer this to other people, whether it's a product, a service, a digital course, whatever that is. Again, for an example here with my book, I didn't just think about selling the book. The book is the offer, right? And I could have done a few posts on just buy my book. But I created so much content around the book itself. I shared the story about how I said, I'm never going to write a book. And then I decided to write it. I talked about the writing process. I talked about editing the manuscript when my baby was 10 days old. I showed being in New York City with my family when the book came out. I interviewed people who were a part of the process. The actual thing for sale was a book, but we were able to create so much content that was valuable around the book that helped share the why, the transformation, so that people understood why I took the time and spent the energy and money on writing the dang book. And let me tell you, I truly believe that that made more people want to buy my book because they started to see, whoa, she cared about this so much. This is how she did this process. This is what it looked like. I can imagine her writing this. And by the way, if you don't have my book yet, go to the show notes. I've got it waiting for you. How are you really? You're going to love it. Okay, number 3. So number 1 was behind the scenes sneak peeks. Number 2 was share your why and the transformation. Now, number 3 is if you are terrified to show up or to even hint at anything or to introduce what it is that you are working on, ask for feedback. Like, invite your audience to be a part of your journey by asking them for their input or feedback on certain aspects of your product or service. Not only does this engage your audience, but it also makes them feel super valued and involved in the creation process itself. The other day, it was so funny. I was on Instagram and I saw somebody do a poll to have their audience help them name their next podcast episode. It was like, podcast episode dropping tomorrow. What should we name it? And in the poll, there are 4 different options. And I am 99% sure they had already decided on their own name. But I thought this was a brilliant move because not only did it help people kind of provide their feedback, but it was almost like this gentle reminder of, hey, we have an episode coming out and here's what it's going to be about. And inside of the options, you could kind of get the gist of it. And they made it so juicy that it was like, hey, I got to make sure I circle back and listen to this episode. And so there are so many different ways that you can invite people into the fold as you are creating, as you are starting to share, as you are putting yourself out there, where again, you can ask people for feedback. Like, did you know that the Gold Digger podcast was named by one of you? I literally polled my audience nearly 8 years ago for help naming this podcast. And it's kind of funny because back in the day, I had a watercolor art print shop. Many of you probably didn't even know that. And I had created this graphic that said Gold Digger and it was in gold script and it was my handwriting. And someone had remembered it and they had thrown that in the hat on social media for what I should name my podcast. And that is how the Gold Digger podcast was named, was from audience feedback, which, by the way, gave me an excuse to tell people, hey, I have a podcast coming out. Do you want to be a part of this process? What should I name it? Now, another way that I've seen creators doing this recently is by creating private broadcast channels on Instagram when they're in the midst of creating their next product or their service. And this is a place for like their die-hard fans, like the do or die people, to be a part of their creation process. They can help choose a logo or packaging or labels or flavors or designs or titles, whatever it may be. It's a really great way to like pull the die-hard audience and like really hit those people. And so there's so many different ways that you can ask for feedback. You can literally ask people in the flesh, real life, but I think that feedback can be positioned in a way that it is not only content, but it's providing valuable insight for you. When people participate in the development and the growth of what it is that you're creating, they feel way more invested in it and likely to take action. So again, even if your dream business is simply an idea right now, start doing polls. Ask people, do you like this or this? Have you ever thought about this? What are your thoughts on this? Have you watched this video? I'm digging into this. Again, there's so many different ways that you can just simply start showing up. And what I want to remind you is that every single time that you post any of this content, whether it is behind the scenes, whether it is your why or your transformation, whether it's asking for feedback, you are leaving little breadcrumbs, little nudges of like, hey guys, remember, it's me. This is what I'm working on. This is what I do. And it's just these little breadcrumbs on the path to purchasing. I promise you that. Number 4 is offering value. So you want to provide valuable content related to your niche, your industry, your expertise. This could be in the form of tips, tutorials, or insights that set you up as an expert and establish you as a trusted authority in your field. When you consistently deliver value, you are going to attract and retain a very loyal following. Goal diggers, we all know the B2B landscape can be a bit complex. From lengthy buying cycles to complicated decision-making processes, reaching your target audience can be tough. But I found a solution tailored just for you: LinkedIn ads. A whopping 79% of B2B content marketers say LinkedIn produces the best results for paid media. That's because with LinkedIn ads, you're not just casting a wide net and hoping for the best, you're strategically building relationships and driving real results. We're talking about a platform with over 1 billion members, including 180 million senior level executives and 10 million C-level executives. You are networking with the actual decision makers. And LinkedIn's targeting and measurement tools are specifically designed for B2B marketers, meaning you're not wasting time or money on irrelevant leads. In fact, in the tech industry, LinkedIn ads have been shown to generate 2 to 5 times higher return on ad spend compared to other social media platforms. Using LinkedIn ads allows you to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to industry trends and developments, whether it's finding the perfect partner for a collaboration or uncovering new opportunities for growth. LinkedIn can be your secret weapon. Make B2B marketing everything it can be and get $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/goal to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/goal. Terms and conditions apply. On top of my many titles as mom, entrepreneur, and creative, I've also added host. Drew and I host on Airbnb on our favorite island in Hawaii. We started hosting as a way to make some extra income, and we've had such an easy breezy experience. Now we host year after year, and it's been a fantastic side hustle. Not to brag, but we've also been crowned Airbnb Superhost several times, so we are really killing the game. It's about having spaces we can enjoy as a family while creating memorable experiences for our guests, and it helps that we earn a little extra cash on the side. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. So here's a story that feels like 18 lifetimes ago. When we were in transition and growing our family, we moved back home to Duluth, Minnesota. Drew left his job in the wine industry. His real dream was to become a stay-at-home dad. We did not have children yet. And so Drew had started a health coaching business. And one of the things that we did before he even had his business named or a single website is we started offering value. So obviously people knew he was very into fitness and different things like that, but he started to show up a little bit different online. And one of the best ways that we offered value and gained the most valuable insight was through creating 2 different freebies. So when he was forming his business, initially speaking, we thought that his business was going to be workouts you can do from home for busy entrepreneurs. He saw how much of a struggle it was for me to get movement in when I was sitting behind my computer all day. And so his initial idea for his business was like, I want to help people like you. I want to help them move their body joyfully at home. So we created a freebie. It was like 5 10-minute workouts you can do from home with no equipment required. We thought, okay, this is going to crush. As an aside, we created a second freebie, and the second freebie was our exact grocery shopping list and meal prep menu for the week. Drew put them both out there, and he started kind of promoting them both and kind of just like leaning in to see, again, asking for feedback. And we were going to take the business in a whole different direction. But when we posted these 2 different things, the grocery shopping list and the meal prep menu absolutely crushed over the at-home workouts. People were so much more curious and needing information on nutrition than movement. And just having those two value adds where we still provided value to the people who needed help with the workouts, we were able to gain so much insight so that when we built his website and created his offers, we leaned so hard into the nutrition side because that was what people actually wanted. And so when you are offering value, it's not just offering value, it's also giving you feedback in real time of what people want the most, what they're the most curious about, how you can help the most, and what you should create your offers around. I think that offering value is the name of the game. Do not make the mistake of waiting to start talking about the thing that you are building until you have something to sell. It's not going to work. When you start talking about it and let people into the process, they're going to be so invested. But when you go to launch, they're going to be ready for it. They're going to be ready to show up and support. Now, when I think about value, think about this. If you can get someone a result or valuable insight for free, they are going to be far more likely to pay for whatever it is that you have to offer. So you showing up and sharing that value is a win for them, and it'll ultimately be a win for you. I want for you to play the long game, okay? I want for you to not just be in business a year from now, but 10 years from now, if that's what you desire. And so the only way to do that is by offering value. And so if you are someone who you're working on your product and you're so head down in the development of the product, I am asking you, in fact, I'm telling you, lift your eyes up and start letting people in. Start providing value. Start sharing your curiosity. Start pulling back the curtain so people can see the behind the scenes. It is going to pay dividends for you when you go to launch your offer because you will have people that are eagerly awaiting the purchase. Serve, 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 and then sell. Let people in, lead them down the path. We all have heard those stats of like the average consumer needs to see an offer like 7 times, which I would argue it's probably like 20 times now in how busy and loud the marketplace is before we make a purchasing decision. And so do not make the mistake of holding back on your content, on letting people in until you have something for sale, because people are going to be so much more receptive if you have been serving them along the way. The last thing that I want for you to consider, and again, this is regardless of if you are launching a new business, you are launching your side hustle, or you're launching a new product, service, or offer. Tease your launch. Build anticipation for your launch by dropping hints, teaser images, countdowns, team meetings, like whatever that is. Create excitement around your upcoming offer without giving too much away, but making people's curiosities be piqued. Like encourage your audience to be watching you on this path. Get them as excited as you are. This is so easy and so powerful. There are going to be so many steps along the way where you can start to build suspense. You can start to crack open the door. You can make people get really curious about like, wait, what are they working on over there? Oh my gosh, I'm so curious. Like what's going on? Share different aspects. Like there are going to be so many steps. Like if you are someone who is creating a new offer or creating a new business, there are so many steps along the way and places where you can invite people into. So start to see those places and let people in. Content can become so easy when you stop thinking just about the end result and start reverse engineering or deconstructing all the things that go into you actually getting there. When I think about starting this podcast all those years ago, literally the day that I got the idea, I had the idea in the shower. That day I went onto Facebook and I said, it's the off season of photography. I'm thinking about starting a podcast. Would anyone tune in? Okay. That was post number 1. Next post. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to do it. Who should I interview for my first few episodes? People commented on that. Awesome. Okay. Now I need to name it. Any ideas? And again, you guys, I did not have 1 million followers back then. This is like my family and friends commenting on these posts. They helped me name it. Then I said, okay, here are my cover art options. Which one would you choose? Which colors do you like? Okay, that's another place. Every single time I was posting in the process, it was that breadcrumb, that reminder of like, something's coming. Something's coming. Pay attention. Something is coming. And so I want for you to think about how can you tease the launch, whether you are showing content around the launch, like we've talked about, whether you are talking about, okay, 3 days until this comes out, here's what to expect. But teasing the launch gets you excited. It also holds you to it. It gives you another level of accountability, but it also makes people pay attention. Now, here's the thing. I know that it can be scary to put yourself out there. I think about the hundreds of women that I've interviewed on this podcast and all of the stories about how scary it was to start. I'm not belittling that fear. That fear is real. But I want to turn the lights on for the monster under your bed, so to speak, and show you it's not all that scary. In fact, you don't have to become a different person. You don't really even have to do anything. You have to just be who you are. And when you do that, you start to let people in so that they can know, like, and trust you. And if you have people in your life that you are so worried about what they're going to think when you start to share what those big God dreams are on your heart, and you're worried that they're going to judge you, I'm going to argue that you don't have the right people in your life. Because when somebody trusts me enough to share their dream with me, I hold space and excitement and tenderness and joy for them. And I have a feeling that you are underestimating the people in your life and world who are there to cheer you on and celebrate you every single step of the way. Stop waiting till it's perfect. Stop waiting till it's done. Let people in today, right now, and let these ideas take on a new life, a life that can absolutely change the world. I know we're talking about content, but content is so deeply entwined with what we believe about ourselves and how we show up. And my hope for you is that you can start showing up with confidence and sharing those things that you're called to do. Because when you do that, the world changes for the better. When more people come alive and do the things that only they can do in the way that only they can do them, the world becomes a better place. And I, for one, am here for it. I truly believe that the world needs what you have to say in the way that only you can say it. So I hope this episode gave you practical ideas to get you started in sharing your voice, your idea, your vision with the world. And I can't wait to see what becomes of it. Take a screenshot, share that you're listening to this episode, and tell your audience good things are coming because I'm working on this. Until next time, goal diggers, keep on digging your biggest goals with confidence. And thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Goal Digger Podcast. I'm over here giving you a virtual high five because you just finished another episode of the Goal Digger Podcast. Did that go by way too fast for anyone else? If you want more, head over to goaldiggerpodcast.com for show notes and all the discount codes from today's sponsors. And if you're looking for a new crew of movers and shakers like you to bounce ideas and ask questions, be sure to join my exclusive community for goal diggers on Facebook. The link's waiting for you at goaldiggerpodcast.com. Hey, goal diggers. Lately, I've been getting excited to finish furnishing our new home, which is why I want to tell you about a brand that we absolutely love, which is Article. I have been a fan and a customer of Article for years. I'm always blown away by the curated assortment of furniture styles they offer. They have mid-century modern, coastal, industrial, Scandinavian, and even boho designs. There is something for everyone, no matter your taste. In our last house, we had their sofa and leather chairs. At our lake house, we have their dining table and chairs. We also just ordered some of their outdoor furniture for our new patio. Like, if you can't tell, we are obsessed with Article. The quality and style are top notch. Article's online only model means that they can offer some great prices with fast and hassle-free delivery. Pick the delivery time that works for you, and they keep you updated every step of the way. Article's customer is also amazing. They're knowledgeable, friendly, and always there when you need them. If you're like me and you're itching to give your home a makeover, I highly recommend checking out Article. They believe in delightful design for every home, and thanks to their commitment to style, quality, and affordability, it's never been easier to transform your space. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/goaldigger and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/goaldigger for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more.